The Jazz, the Clippers, they make a trade. Let's talk about it.
Jazz Smack, your source for information and analysis about the Utah Jazz and NBA basketball. Jazz Smack is a community for passionate Utah Jazz NBA fans.
So the Jazz and Clippers make a trade today. And the Jazz, in this trade, the Jazz send Drew Eubanks, Patty Mills to the Clippers for Mo Bamba, PJ Tucker, a second-round draft pick, and cash. This trade is one of those rare situations where it truly benefits both franchises. Absolutely, unequivocally, positives for both teams. From the Jazz perspective, it does two really good things. The Jazz are in a situation where they're rebuilding the franchise. And the more draft capital they get, whether that's first or second round picks, the better off they'll be. They just did a trade with Phoenix where they sent 3 first-round picks to Phoenix for the 1 unprotected Phoenix pick in 2031. So the Jazz had a net loss of 2 first-round picks in that trade. So bringing more picks back in, even though this is a second-round pick, bringing another piece of draft capital back under the Jazz franchise where they can either trade it in future trades or maybe use it down the road, this is a good thing. Absolutely a positive. This also does another major thing for the Jazz. Drew Eubanks is actually a good player. He's a quality player that deserves NBA minutes. He can play. I mean, he has skills. There's no doubt that he's an asset to any team that he's going to be on. He should get minutes on any roster. And so from the Jazz perspective, I mean, Drew Eubanks is an older player. He's an established player. He's essentially, at this point in his career, he's a finished product. But the Jazz need Filipowski to get playing time for development purposes. Filipowski can clearly play. He has an NBA future. I think the Jazz can clearly see that, management, coach. So moving Eubanks off the roster potentially frees up minutes for Filipowski. Now, a lot of this depends on Filipowski, how hard he plays, how well he's playing, et cetera, but those minutes that Drew was consuming are now there for the taking that possibly go to Filipowski, and I would say a very likely do go to Filipowski. So this is really good for the Jazz. I mean, it gives them another draft pick, even though it's a second-round pick, and it frees up minutes that can go to Filipowski to continue his development. Now, from the Clippers' perspective, the Clippers are in a salary cap situation where they were in a really tough spot. This moves them under the tax, and it gives them some flexibility over the next number of days before the trade deadline to make some other moves and tweak the roster some. So this really helps the Clippers. And in addition to that, Drew Eubanks was by far the best player of the 4 players in this trade. And Drew Eubanks can play. He plays hard. He's a tough guy. He can defend. He's a good guy to have on the roster that can come in and give you 15 minutes. And he should get playing time with the Clippers off the bench. And I think he can really help the Clippers in the playoffs. So this is really positive for the Clippers. It gives them flexibility around this trade deadline, and also gives them a guy coming off the bench who can actually give them minutes, quality minutes. So as they hopefully keep Kawhi healthy, they can do a little more things around the edges to maybe give themselves an opportunity to make a run in the playoffs. We'll see. I'm not totally sold on that with the Clippers, but I think this helps them, and it gives them better footing to actually try and win some games in the playoffs. So I think this is a really net positive for both teams, and this is one of those few exceptions where I think this trade actually works out, and this is great. So anyway, just wanted to fill everybody in, my personal perspective on the positives of this move. And thanks for watching, everybody. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we will talk to everybody later. Have a good day.